You know, there's a day that comes quietly, not with fanfare, not with balloons, but with a feeling deep in your chest. It's the day you stop chasing who you used to be and start cherishing who you've become. For me, that day changed everything. It was the day I realized getting older wasn't a curse, it was a blessing. And I want to share with you what led me there. Because maybe you felt it too, that ache of time passing, the longing for what was. But stay with me, because what came next changed how I see every sunrise since. When we're young, we think time will wait for us. We run fast, talk loud, dream big. We fill our calendars and chase after meaning, like it's something hidden out there. I remember being in my 40s, busy, tired, always moving. My kids were in school, my job consumed my days, and my evenings were just laundry, bills, and a few hours of TV. If someone had told me then that I'd one day look back and miss those grey hairs and wrinkles, I'd have laughed. Because back then, growing older meant slowing down. It meant fading out. It meant being less. Or so I thought. But life has a way of teaching you lessons. Softly at first, and then all at once. It wasn't a big moment. No dramatic music, no bright light. Just an ordinary Sunday morning. I was sitting at the park near my house. The same park I used to take my kids to when they were little. Now they were grown, with families of their own. And that morning, I saw a young father chasing his toddler across the grass, laughing as the little boy stumbled. Something about that scene stopped me cold. It wasn't jealousy. It wasn't sadness. It was peace. Because in that moment I realized something. I had already lived that season. I had been that dad. I had carried those sleepy kids home. I had worried about bills, rushed to work, stayed up through fevers. And somehow I had made it through. Now I got to sit back and watch the world continue its beautiful circle, with no need to run anymore. That's when it hit me that aging isn't losing time, it's gaining perspective. It's earning the right to slow down and finally see the beauty we once rushed past. That day I smiled, and I whispered to myself, maybe this is what wisdom feels like. Now let me tell you about Mary. Mary lived down the street from me. One of those quiet women with kind eyes and a gentle voice. She was in her late 70s when I met her, and she had the most beautiful garden you've ever seen. Roses, tulips, marigolds. It was a little paradise right in her front yard. One day I stopped to compliment her flowers. She smiled and said, "Oh, these aren't flowers. They're friends. Each one has a story." She walked me through her garden like it was a photo album. "This rose," she said, "I planted the day my husband retired. It bloomed that summer and every summer after. That one over there," she pointed, "was from my daughter when my first grandchild was born." And then she paused at a patch of bright yellow marigolds. "These," she whispered, "I planted the year after he passed. They remind me that even after loss, life keeps blooming." Mary told me she used to fear getting old. She hated birthdays after 60. But one day, while sitting in her garden, she realized something powerful. "Every flower has its season," she said. "Some bloom early, some late, but all are beautiful in their time. I guess we're the same." That day, she said, was when she stopped hiding her age and started wearing it proudly, like sunlight on petals. And when she told me that, I understood. Getting older wasn't about endings. It was about different kinds of beginnings. Then there was Ben, a tough old Marine who lived across the street for nearly 30 years. Ben was one of those men who didn't say much, but when he did, every word carried weight. After his wife passed away, he seemed quieter. The porch light at his house was always on, even late at night. One evening, I walked over with a cup of coffee and sat with him. We didn't talk much at first, just the sound of crickets, a few cars passing, the world slowing down. Then, out of nowhere, Ben said, "You know, I used to dread being alone. Thought old age meant losing everyone you love. But I've learned, it's also when you find the parts of yourself you forgot existed." He sipped his coffee, looked at the stars and smiled. "I used to think the light I kept on was for her, but maybe it's also for me. A reminder that even in the dark, life keeps shining." That night I realized the blessing of growing older isn't about avoiding pain. It's about learning to see light even through it. You see, aging changes what matters. When you're young, you chase moments. When you're older, you cherish them. You start realizing that the best parts of life were never the big achievements. They were the small, ordinary things. The laughter of family at the dinner table, the smell of coffee in the morning, the peace of sitting by a window while the world keeps moving outside. It's funny, as our bodies slow down, our hearts wake up. We see what really mattered all along. We see how much love we gave, how much kindness we received, and how much strength we never knew we had. Getting older is like reading the final chapters of a good book. The story makes more sense now. You understand the struggles, the turns, the tears, and you whisper to yourself, that's why it happened. There's another truth I learned that day. You can't hold on to every version of yourself. The young dreamer, the busy parent, the worker, the caretaker, they all had their season, and when that season ends, you don't lose them. They live inside you. We spend so much of our lives fighting change, when really, it's just life trying to make room for something new. When I finally accepted that, when I stopped trying to stay young and instead started trying to stay grateful, I found peace. And you know what? That peace felt better than youth ever did. Here's what I know now. Getting older gives you gifts that only time can offer. Patience, because you've learned that most storms pass. Compassion, because you've lived enough to understand others' pain. Perspective, because you've seen what really matters and what never did. Gratitude, because you know how precious every morning truly is. You stop rushing. You stop competing. You start being, and in that stillness you find beauty. If I could talk to my younger self, I'd tell him this. Stop worrying about growing old. Worry about not growing wise. One day, you'll look in the mirror and see grey hair where there was once color, wrinkles where there was once smoothness. But don't you dare see loss. See proof. Proof that you've laughed, cried, loved and lived. Proof that you've been here. Because that's what age really is. Living proof of a life fully lived. So yes, that was the day I realized getting older was a blessing. Not because life got easier, but because I got gentler. Because I stopped chasing youth and started embracing truth. You learn that blessings aren't loud. They whisper through quiet mornings, soft memories, and moments of stillness. You realize you don't need more years behind you or ahead of you. You just need to be present in the one you have. And that, my friends, is freedom. Maybe you're listening to this, thinking about your own journey. Maybe you've lost people, faced changes, or watched your world shift in ways you didn't expect. But remember this, every wrinkle carries a story. Every grey hair is a medal of time. Every heartbeat means purpose still flows through you. So next time you catch your reflection, don't sigh, smile. Because you, my friend, are a living library of wisdom, love, and endurance. You are not getting old. You are becoming golden. So tell me, when was the moment you realized growing older was a blessing? Share your story in the comments, because someone out there needs your wisdom today. If this message touched your heart, give it a like, and join our Golden Senior Wisdom community. Together, we remind the world that every stage of life has beauty, and that the best is not behind us. It's within us. Stay kind, stay grateful, and may every sunrise remind you that age is not a number, it's a gift.